Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about the Jinx. Even saying that, I mean, I got a message. It was a Facebook message from Justin Ho, and Justin watches the channel. And Justin asked the question. He says, "Why did Annemann call his magazine the Jinx?" He goes on to say it means bad luck, and the issues were full of black cats, another bad luck symbol. So why did he call the magazine the Jinx? At the time when the Jinx was first published in 1934, the leading magazine at the time was the Sphinx. Now think about that for a second. In the Jinx magazine, which this is the hardbound volumes of the Jinx, in the Jinx, Annemann referenced the Sphinx over and over and over again as the magazine he tried to acquire but failed. The Sphinx was first published in March of 1902, and it was the leading magic magazine until March of 1953. The Jinx was first published October of 1934, and the last issue was December. Unfortunately, Annemann committed suicide in December, and that's why it was the last issue, December 15th of 1941. When Annemann came along, this was the leading publication. By the way, this is the Ultimate Sphinx. You can get every volume, 1902 to 1953 is on a CD-ROM, PDF files. You can download them to your computer. What I like to do is I'll read through them on the computer. If I find something I like, you can save that page as a PDF, or you can print that page out, or you can take a screenshot of it. But I do that, I make a collection. I have a folder for the Jinx, and I have a folder for Genie Magazine, and I have a folder for the Sphinx. And as I read through, as I find something interesting, I just clip it. I just clip it out, and I make an archive of it. By the way, this is also indexed. So I think, Justin, that Jinx and Sphinx sound alike. And I'll tell you what else. This is a definite Egyptian motif. And if you're looking at the Sphinx, and let me just show it to you. If you're looking at the Jinx, and this is volume 1 right here, with this, in Egyptian mythology, when these two images face each other, it's kind of a yin and a yang. It's a sunset and sunrise motif, and that's what this image is back here. So this is very much an Egyptian motif, and I think he was inspired by the Sphinx. I think that's why he did it. Now, there is another explanation. This, by the way, is the Jinx Companion. The Jinx Companion, and if you don't have this in your library, I want to strongly suggest that you pick it up. It's a wonderful book. It'll help you understand the Jinx. It'll help you navigate the Jinx much more. But on page 50, he says, they're talking about the masthead and why the masthead was there and the name of the Jinx and so on. Page 50, the motif actually points to Annemann's lust for the Sphinx magazine. So it's their opinion as well that the reason that the magazine is called the Jinx is because it's reminiscent of the Sphinx. Now let me share something, Justin. This is just for you. This is going to be January 1937, volume 28 of the Jinx. It's on the second page, at page 170, if you're looking for that, page 170. This, according to Annemann, this is why he named the magazine the Jinx, okay? It's interesting to know something about the name of this sheet. or publication. Christy Mathewson, the Major League pitcher of old baseball days, coined the word jinx as a synonym for hoodoo. Hoodoo. Hoodoo is a form of real magic. There are many hoodoo practitioners. I don't know of Annemann's relationship to the occult, to real magic, but here he is on page 170 saying that the jinx speaks to the relationship to hoodoo. So maybe so, or maybe that's a little bit of showmanship. I'll let you decide. Anyway, let me give you some history on both the Sphinx and the Jinx. The Sphinx was the indisputably greatest magic magazine during the golden age of magic. We can debate about which is the greatest magazine today, but back in the golden age there was the Sphinx, and that was it. The Sphinx became the vehicle for the SAM, the Society of American Magicians, literally from the beginning, 1902. If you read through these volumes, and I have, you'll see what eventually became the Magic Unity Might, the Mum magazine, which spun out of the Sphinx a little bit later. But for many years, a lot of magic clubs published their notes in the Sphinx, and the Society of American Magicians was one. It's really fascinating to go back and read the minutes from some of the meetings, because you remember, Harry Houdini was a past president of the Society of American Magicians, and all that's chronicled in the Sphinx. In 1930, the actual first publisher passed away. William Larson, who later published Genie magazine, attempted to get his hands on the Sphinx, was not successful. John Mulholland was the one who actually took over the reins of the Sphinx in 1930. In 1938, Annemann tried to get his hands on the Sphinx and was not successful doing it. A complete set contains 52 volumes, 597 issues, almost 17,000 pages. I'm a mentalist, so in my opinion, the Jinx is a little more interesting. But from a historical point of view, it's absolutely amazing to have this in your library. Now, the Jinx, the editor, publisher, and major contributor is Ted Annemann, and that really speaks to the genius of Ted Annemann. October 1934 to December 15th, 1941, 151 issues. You can, if you choose, you can buy them in bound volume like this. Personally, I love having paper to hold and a book to open and read. I prefer it that way. They're also available for download from several different sources. As a mentalist, indispensable. You just cannot go without the Jinx. You need to have the Jinx. You need to be familiar with it. You need to be reading it. Much of the best material from the Jinx was published in Annemann's Practical Mental Effects. So if you kind of want to get a best of, you don't want to read every issue of the Jinx, certainly pick this up. It's considered one of the standards for mentalism. Annemann's Practical Mental Effects. If you're not a book person, and I hope that you are, because there's nothing like reading to me, but the great Richard Osterlin, I think he is going to be remembered as the greatest mentalist of our time. At least, here's what I think he is. He's the Harlan Tarbell of mentalism. He truly is. He is the teacher of mentalists. He did a 6-volume DVD series called Annemann's Practical Mental Effects, where he goes through this entire book and does the vast majority of the effects right here on DVD. And I have seen these, and they are phenomenal. So you have the opportunity to buy the complete set of the Jinx. You can get Annemann's Practical Mental Effects, or you can get the whole thing on DVD right here. Those are the resources available to you. Oh, and don't forget the Jinx Companion. Again, it's not exhaustive, but what it does is it highlights things you might have missed. So take a look at that. Justin, thank you so much for your question. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe down below if you've not done so already. Please comment. I love your comments. Have a great day.